I always tell you about the meditation on the Yidam deity. It is a benefit not only for the next life, but also right now in this life. It is a great benefit. Many times I get calls and people say, I have so many problems and I have such a hard time. And every time I say, you have to visualize Tara and you have to practice Tara. I always say that because the mind's, when the mind is suffering, that suffering itself, it is a concept, it is a thought, and it arises depending on previously accumulated karma arisen from self-grasping. Now, at a time when the mind is suffering, it is obscured by the suffering. Therefore, it eliminates our wisdom, our intelligence. And in that moment, you have to visualize the Yidam deity very clearly, like seeing in a mirror. Visualize it very clearly. And recall the love and compassion that the deity has. And if you can do that, then the concept, that thought, will go out of existence and your mind will become clean and clear. So depending on the deity visualization, our self-grasping is decreasing and wisdom is increasing. There is therefore truly no better companion, no better friend than the Yidam deity. I always hand out those small round pictures of the Yidam deity, and it should give rise to it in your mind. Now, for example, when you give it to a child and you just tell it to recite Taratur Taratur Soha, without you embodying the love and compassion that the deity does, of course, maybe there's these benefits, but you need to completely transform into love that the deity embodies, and that will be beneficial now in this life, but also in future lives to come. In the future lives, when the deity is clearly appearing in your mind, it will be of great benefit, because your life will, your mind in the next life will transform into the deity. So there's a great benefit in this life and in our next life. So it's therefore important to engage in the visualization of deities.
There is some talking about it. Talking about the local children, what I am not the woman to Tasuga, yes. Tasuga, yes. Tasuga, what I am not the Tapo. Tasuga, Tasuga, Kari. You be cheerful. That's a job, getting your heart. Getting the Lekachi, to get a corner, young Chico, young Clark, young Telephone, that in it, young bomb that, and you be cheerful. Finish on what the Nami Jena, or later you must be said over it. Later you must say to me, what you tell you to come with the ego of my friend. Later you move Mazepa, Pena, Mamezina, not the Mazepa, the oh, not the Lata daughter, Mammy, she was pretty, and later Mazepa, the father of the ego. Later say what you are talking, you are done. To me, Sunny, coming to go over, or you don't talk about the coming down with it. Little, the Julius, that's up to Julius, you are Julius for this.
So thinking about the future lives is a very long way. So where on how will you go? If you have no car, if you have no plane to go, will you ride a horse? So if you don't have all those, how will you prepare? It is your own diligence, your own efforts. Whenever you can engage in virtuous actions, you have to work But as soon as you have an empty moment, use it for visualizing the deity, or to meditate, or to recite, to read text. At all times have effort, effort and diligence continuously. When you practice continuously, then in the future all the karmas and afflictive emotions will be exhausted, and then the period of the pardo will be very short. It is just like a butter lamp. As long as there is oil in the butter lamp is burning, but when the oil of the butter lamp is exhausted, when it's gone, then the butter lamp will not be burning anymore. So as soon as we have exhausted all our afflictive emotions, we will not experience the suffering anymore, but we will go straight to the pure realms. Therefore, we shouldn't be lazy, but apply great effort. And here it says, instead of a horse, use effort.
얘는 다다 쫀도 받쳐야 가려지. 다 내려오세요. 르비 내려오지 그때만 제 서만 보고 다티는 게 몇줄 앞에 내 봐요. 남자라지 내가 됐다 내거나 왜 다다 먼저 됐다 내가 마오들 낳게요 그랬더니 내가 마오들 하지 누마처럼 말해라 내가 되고 빼대나기 나한테 기와서 대행이 사니 따로미 사나는 사람들 바로 그 가두시시고 말이야. 이들이라 쉽게 내려오지 하려면 취직이 강게나 진짜게도 따따따따라는 제고 나 산이 지나가 지금 말이야. 조금 들어 조금 별로 보고 좁다는 데 야민 제고를 해서 내려 저어야 뭐 싫어 신을 잡고 줄라 신을 잡고 줄라고 내려 맞게 뚫지 해서 야야
The obstacle for diligence, the enemy of diligence, is laziness. And this is not just in regard to next lives, but also this very life. Laziness is very harmful to this very life. For example, if we have some work to do, and then we just procrastinate it, and we say, I will do it tomorrow, I will do it another time. The work just remains undone, and at one point there is a big heap of work that has not been accomplished, has not been done, and has to be done. So in the same way, when we are not practicing, when we are being lazy, then what happens when we tomorrow, when we were to die? Therefore it says, don't be lazy and practice right now. Practice tonight with strong diligence. We don't know, we might die tomorrow, and if one has practiced diligently, then whenever one is dying, it is fine. But if one has not practiced diligently, then what will happen? So one understanding that, don't be lazy, but be very diligent.
Three minutes is on the three more. Some of the time, I can't on the chessma. I can't care about the time of much of the find your backing. Tam is able to choose a tam which you say, Kela. Kela is that. 말에 대해서 충분히 주제나 뭐 가르쳐 버리지 좀 짧게 뭐 말해 그냥 들고 말해 아침 밥이 안 먹고 말해 공자 싶으면 공자면 생제도 맞아 버려 아다다 좀이 나네 좀이 소리 잡아 생도 맞아 주고 루다방 상을 대죠 가고 아래 딱반 뒤로 오는데 내가 가고 생제도 맞아 버려 공자고 해서 몸장을 좋아해. 저 몸이 아파지면 저 딱그 교고 말해. 전부 대표 말해.
So after Milarepa has spoken, she was thinking, and then she said, I have not prepared at all for my next lives. My whole life I have done no preparation. So she regretted and confessed, and she said, from now onwards I need to practice the Dharma. I need to commit myself to Dharma practice. So she made a commitment that I'm going to engage seriously in Dharma practice. And Milarepa has said, if you truly want to practice the Dharma, it is not necessary that you give up your family or you give up everything that you have, but you need to meditate. And the purpose of meditation is to purify your mind, and you need to apply great diligence. It is very difficult to always be in mountain retreat, but you need to meditate at all times. And if you do that, then you can also just stay in your family as the householder. So then she was asking Milarepa, so how should I meditate? And Milarepa replied, when you meditate, look at the nature of your mind and let your mind rest in its natural state, just like space, without any grasping, without any boundaries or centers, without any thoughts. Just look at your mind. So rest your mind space-like, and now go ahead and have some tea. So an outer example for the nature of the mind is space, is the sky. The sky is just like the sky. When one sees with wisdom the true nature of mind as it is, without any boundaries and without any centers and without any expressions, then one has realized the mind to abide just like space. This is an outer example for the inner mind, space. Then secondly, the example of the sun and moon. That is when, at the moment when our mind is clear, in a state of clarity. In a state of clarity, we are mindful, aware, and we are conscientious. In that state, whichever afflictive emotion or concept arise, we are aware of them, we feel them, and they are liberated on their own accord. There is no grasping to those concepts to be truly existing. That means one is not engaging in actions motivated by attachment or anger. It is just like seeing a beautiful flower. When one does not have mindful awareness, then one sees that flower and one thinks, oh, this is a beautiful flower, I need to buy it, I need to get it. But if one has mindful awareness, then one will think, oh, this is a beautiful flower, but it's just an illusion. It's just a delusion. One will not even think about it even further than that. So that is clarity. Clarity is mindful awareness. As illustrated with the example of sun, which is ever illuminating.
The Huaqiati, Midani, Pelon, Sandra Pepadi. Tago so you say we get the Sangiana, or say we get the Sangiana, then we go to the carrier of the Hapo on my life. They go to the surgery of our surgery. Some come up, or not all the room, never never. Sana, this will be less I am less out of the symptom go. Symptom the budget. Taho, some of the lot more, she's at the bar. The new mobile, the new mobile less are the ledge at the bar. The lady Pachaja, not the water do so solo. You mobile can't give up teachings in the water do Pachaja. That's not read the Pachaja over there. Whom we need to go. They got church over our mother, read the Demand Pachaja Maze, but the read the Pachaja Mother, leadership control over it. Pretty Pachaja the bar. The budget and
so that has very deep meaning. If now one may ask, if the basis of our mind is the nature of our mind is the Buddha, if we already are the Buddha, why is there a need to meditate? It is because we need to keep up our clarity, our mental awareness. That is, in a state of mental clarity where we are fully mindful and aware. Even if concepts or afflictive emotions arise, they will be rendered powerless. They can do no harm. But if we are not mindful and aware, or we lose clarity, then when concepts or afflictive emotions arise, depending on them, we are engaging in actions, and these actions obscure the nature of our mind. There's 4 obscurations that obscure the nature of our mind. The first one is the obscuration of recognizing the mind as it is. So we are obscured by not seeing the mind's true nature. Then, depending on that, because we are not seeing mind's true nature, we are engaging in actions, which is the second obscuration, the obscuration of karma. The second one is afflictive emotions. And depending on those afflictive emotions, we are engaging in actions, which is the third one. So we have had not seeing the nature of one's mind, afflictive emotions, karmas, and fourth, depending on karmas, we are putting imprints in our mind. These are habitual tendencies in our mind. And it is those habitual tendencies, those imprints, which have formed this body, which is temporary, which is like an illusion, temporary. As soon as at the time when the imprints are exhausted, also this body will go out of existence. So those 4 obscurations, they happen in stages.
Tata Tava ke was okay. Dogega Tawa new Mobana, 당시에 또 하고 요래. 그거는 무슨 내발동도 요래. 영동동 두개 와 말이야. 제 강의들 다 마고네. 몸바디 빼려도 따와대 또나 대 몸바가 공고지 이거는 뭐 공고요. 빼면 내 당불값으로 몸 잡는 영웅만 매발 똥무서 정신이 강해나. 뭐저 내가 시랍으로 공박 따와 이거 말해. 시랍으로 맨날 이시세요 그래. 시랍으로 맨날 이시 가려야 되거든요. 얘네 요게 얘기사 공박 터만해 봐네 요래 마음 빨라는 요래 생기는 나빴다고 요래 매야요 말해. 얘 시들은 뒤세부 내로 쳐하거나 세우는 거 내로 들어가 하거나 또 탐체 집에 시시사서 세부 내로 또좀 공기가 추탑지 생리 종마다 원래 대탐체 동만이니마다 하고 그래 예시대라 진짜 다 다른 것도 생기던데 유래 때 참타와 충청마도 요 말해 때는 부처를 매다 그래 양이 뭐가 공수는 사제 당시 나중에 매체모 짝탑난 거 매다 그래 짝탑난 거 매다 그래 현장 뭐 가이가는 람상 매는 철도 나중에 이게 총총은 남도 총총 나무 양수 좋네 나도 총총 때문에 공자 파욕하는 미도 있는 공자는 세미 시랍라티는 남도 미도도 지나 이 유익자담 공 같은 남도 당시 현는 일이 그래라고 계시대 매다고 유체 매배 공작되는 이 시대 말을 레레도 체를 오래 촉체를 오고 나도 같이 책났더니 이 시대 매다고 나도 현다고 했더니 몸 유는 거죠 말아리가 가서 몸 자체 대리는 거라 근데 이 시대 촉체 보차를 딱 내죠 다 영국에 가면 너 봐요 말이야 그러면 말아리가 나리가 좀 가지고 가는 때가 말아리가 가는 또 오는 말이야 어쩌고 내만 막에 이렇게 올라와. 막 가야지.
So we always hear that the root of our suffering is our afflictive emotions. So we all know that. But yet we don't know how to eliminate our afflictive emotions. We know that they are the root of our suffering, the cause of our suffering, and yet we try to eliminate them and we can't. That is because, for that reason, we need meditation. For that reason, we need to habituate our mind. When one wishes to realize the view, it is a question of habituation of the mind, not of the realization itself. One needs to abide with it, one needs to habituate one's mind to it. In the beginning, as beginning practitioners, the reason why we cannot eliminate immediately our afflictive emotions is because the flame of our wisdom is very small. So here wisdom or primordial wisdom in Tibetan means yeshe. Those two parts, ye and she. Ye means original. That means it has always been there since beginningless time, and it will always be there in the future. It is abiding like space and it cannot be destroyed. That is ye, original, and she is that awareness that realizes the nature of mind, that is the all-knowing awareness, that realizes that all phenomena of samsara and nirvana have arisen from the mind and are empty of self-nature. So that's the meaning of yeshe, or primordial wisdom. Now, we do have some yeshe, some wisdom, but it is very small. It is very, it's like a tiny little flame. Now, when a very strong afflictive emotion arises, when a very strong concept arises, we don't have that fire, that little flame does not have the strength to burn that afflictive emotion up. But as we are increasing our wisdom, that flame is growing stronger and greater. And in that state, as it grows greater, however many concepts are arising, they will be burned up by the flame. So you can see the flame to be like your wisdom, and the afflictive emotions and the concepts like wood. In the beginning, when you put a lot of wood in a small flame, it will not be able to burn it up. But later on, when the flame has been developed and is very, very great, then however much wood you will put inside, it will be able to consume it. It will become stronger and stronger. So this we go through habituation. Every day we habituate our minds, and every day the wisdom fire will become stronger. That is the meditation that Milarepa has taught. So when the wisdom fire is very big, then no matter how many demons or afflictive emotions are arising, they will have no power. Milarepa was known for defeating all demons and obstacles because of his great wisdom, and because he did not grasp at them to have any self-reality. Generally in other texts in, for example, Tsongkhapa temple texts, there is so there. So Rinpoche actually said I shouldn't like mention that because it's not really part of this text, but now I started already. So, so in that other context, the body, speech, and mind would be. There are 4 examples given for body, speech, and mind. The body should be like a mountain, and the speech like an ocean, and the mind like space. Here in this text, the same examples are given: the mountain, the ocean, and the space. But here they all refer to the mind. It shows the unchanging nature of the mind. So when the mind is like a mountain, strong like a mountain, then no matter how strong the wind is that blows, no matter how strong the wind blows, it cannot shake the mountain. So when the mind is like a mountain, then no matter how strong the concepts are that arise, they will not be able to shake the mind. So meditate on the mind like a mountain. Then meditate on the mind like an ocean. When you have an ocean, maybe on the surface of the ocean is moving, but in the depths of the ocean, no matter how strong the wind is blowing on the surface, the depth of the ocean remains unmoving. In the same way, rest your mind. And then the third one actually here is not space-like, but it says, guard your mind like guarding a jewel from a thief. Always being aware and thinking a concept could arise. I must guard my mind from getting distracted and falling under the sway of those concepts. Just like when one has a wish-fulfilling jewel in one's house, one would always guard that jewel from thieves to come that would take it away. And so in the same way, guard your mind from distraction, because when distraction happens, then afflictive emotions arise, and then we create actions, karmas. So therefore, keep your mind constantly aware and guard your mind like a jewel. And then the next one, that's number 3, and then 4, is have no doubts, questioning the state of questioning your mind. Is it this or is it not this? So have no doubts.
如果我们知道的，那现在的中华队，不是这我们这个大学里边，那现在我都没我接得到，我那提高的人没被这个考，当然头，啊，这个没被讲，多呢，哦，现在我们的节目，现在那多从那多集中了就没从了，这个当然头其他搞这样是。对嘛，我必须说的，我啊。
And then she got instructed that about the physical posture. It is the sevenfold posture of Vajrayana. There are many different traditions on how it is explained, but mainly it is important that the spine at the back is completely straight. If the spine is straight, if the body is straight, then one's channels are straight, and when one's channels are straight, one's winds are straight, and when one's winds are straight, one will be able to move it through the central channel if one is able to gather it at the root chakra, and then one's mind needs to abide. So there is a posture for the body, and the mind needs to abide quietly, and then meditate on that for a very long time. So she went and meditated and had many good experiences, and also obstacles have arisen. So she asked again, she asked her teacher Milarepa, when I meditate my mind to be like space, that is a good meditation, but I find it difficult when clouds arise. What shall I do when clouds arise? Or when I meditate on the moon, that is excellent, but around the moon suddenly many countless little stars appear. Or when I meditate on the mountain, and suddenly I'm aware of all the trees and bushes growing on the mountain. That makes me feel uncomfortable. What shall I do about it? So basically what it means is that it is those small concepts that are constantly arising that are very harmful to our meditation. So when we only abiding on the nature of our mind, then it seems to be joyful. But as soon as those small little thoughts are arising, we experience difficulties.
제가 다음 말에 배송을 했다. 나파 공도 내가 네 소피 나파랑 이미 연구요래. 소피 저 세바만 소피 나파 장소에 나파랑 그 나게 또 나파게 소피는 좀 맛이 없고 말해. 로다고 공적으로 저 대신에 오르송은 대신에 주도가 제거 말해. 대신 거랑 이게나 이세는 요래. 잡초 공도 되면 잡초 발았대. 잡초 한거 발았대. 말로 한거 하나 참도 오래. 저때 빼들이 망고 가시요 이제. 얘는 아때 망고도 보고 말해. 돈을 되네. 샘당 나또 왔니. 가가 말해. 샘은 나또 다니는 뭐가 최종을 하죠. 망고 손라야. 나또 되는 저바 맞죠. 그냥 또 봐요 말해. 그러면 잡초도 발았니. 마도 발라피 치보는 걸 잡수카서 발라를 해나라고 좀 인간적으로 어떻게 하면 발라도 약간 미로 발라다 저기 집안에 잡은 집안에 좀 고아차 되는 저 상을 나가 세는 때가 참참 들이 요가 촉 쳐보 째고 이거 무시 촉 쳐보고 근데 미다가 미로 거기 봐봐 좀 들이 제시 때는 그 내 마음에 벌지네 제시 나서 내가 얘기해 근데 미도 그 미저 때를 빼는 나또 충청이나 춥다고 말해 남기는 내가 동이 춥지고 양 대변 초라 춥지고 제가 담지 제로 가면 세바째를 가인 거고 거기 왕도 거고 대 마셔와야 다 되고 그 촉촉한데 시당 집어 지어서 그리 원래 예장무시 요거는 그 시당 그런 경우에 당들이 이거는 뭐 감정 되잖아 이 맞게 시당 상식 이거 몇 빠지네 자동차 좋아하는 게 좋다고 하잖아 그냥 명으로 와서 딱 버렸더니 미국과 시당들 또 많이 또 소리 가지 시당을 가지고 공자 이 전체적으로 공자는 마음과는 미국과 이제 싸우면서 동쪽으로 와 이거는 이게 참아대 생당 남도니 남도는 좀 함께 고 말했어 남도 세미 좀 봐야 돼 세부지 시원한 남도는 좀 봐야 돼 그래서 전부 다 됐죠 참 뭔지 잘 그래
So Milarepa has said, has replied, when you meditate on the mind abiding like space, then clouds will arise. Clouds naturally come, but you need to recognize them to be the magical display of the sky, like an illusion, and they will go out of existence by themselves. So have no grasping to the clouds arising. They will just vanish back into the sky as they have arisen. When you meditate on a mountain, do not grasp, hold on to the trees or to the bushes. When you just ignore them, when you just leave them as they are, they naturally will disappear. Or another example is the example with the ocean and the waves. The ocean and the waves are not separate, even though they may appear, a wave may appear very powerful and very strong, rising from the ocean, but yet they are both water and not separate. What this all is to say is that the mind and the concepts are not separate, they are not different. When you recognize the concepts as they arise without any grasping, then they will be rendered powerless. Just like an ocean, when a very strong, a very great wave is arising, we would naturally have fear, we would be afraid of the big wave. But recognizing that the wave itself is in the nature of water and is not separate from water and will again dissolve into water, eliminate our fear. So when very strong afflictive emotion is arising, when you recognize it with mindful awareness, then no matter how strong it is, it will just dissipate in itself. So when very small concepts are arising, then we don't even have to apply any effort, we just leave them be and leave them dissipate again. Naturally they will dissipate. But sometimes afflictive emotions and also great bliss arise as very strong, and then naturally we get involved in it, we get distracted, we completely get overpowered by it. Especially the afflictive emotion of anger gets a hold of us very strongly. When you recognize that, do not speak in anger, and recognize that the fault lies in the afflictive emotion of anger. Recognize that every time it arises, and day by day, slowly you will melt the hard ice block into water as you gain experience, because you have realized that its nature actually is empty of self-nature. Then when you habituate your mind to it, then in the future it will be very easy for you to eliminate afflictive emotions the moment they arise. So in brief, what that is to say is mind and its concepts are not separate. So therefore there is no need of having any fear of our concepts when we just recognize them at our times with our mindful awareness. And practicing in this way, the girl, Onion, Onion, So the girl Nima, Onion, the girl practicing in this way, she did not have to. Sorry. There was no need for her to go into mountain retreat, and also she didn't have to cut her hair and become ordained. She just was staying at home as a householder and could and practice. And in the end, it is said that she has obtained the rainbow body and has become a true yogini. So, for the future, Rinpoche says we should remember her name. Because the story that she wrote about Milarepa's life is really in accordance with the real story, and therefore it's important for us to study it.
그때 나파다고 생포가 또 생들라 왜 가야라 좀 내가 다리 편이 엄마 바다 한번 쏘네 나파다고 잡는 그 바다 잡아 가리까지 해봐 원래 무고 납차던 여가리 나파도 와는 가리 제일 요만해 나파는 통통서 남들 뭐라 해봐니 견제 대비 어와서 그러 나파다고 통통 오케이
Milarepa
송산 미공을 봐서 송산 미공을 봐 먹을 거 지어라 그냥 내가 이제 좀 공대 다리 잡고 이거 내가 나에서 납작을 있다고
There was another disciple of Milarepa called Milarepa. You get the name Repa, which means Re means a cotton cloth. You get this name when you are accomplished in the practice of Dumo, which is inner heat. Then you don't need any other clothes besides a cotton cloth because you don't feel the cold. That is actually to get the name Repa is a great honor. It shows that one has great qualities. For example, one could meditate on the high snow mountains of Lapchi, only wearing a cotton cloth through mastering inner heat. Now, his disciple Milarepa, he asked Milarepa, how do you practice? How do you train your mind? And Milarepa answered, when I practice, when you practice, you have to look at your mind. You have to look. The mind is watching its own nature. You have to look at the nature of the mind. Non-reason and seeing directly its true essence. You have to watch your mind. Its essence is unelaborated, just like space. Cannot said to be existent or non-existent. There is nothing to do to it. It just abides like space, empty of self-nature. This is what I have realized.
소비자들 외롭고 가면은 세번 뭐 주랑 나빠서 이제 뒤때만 아뒤때만 세비 자잖아. 아 주탐피 외롭고 원래 가면은 거기에 주탐피 세우를 지어래. 지어는 세우고 하면 뒤때 빼놓고 저밤에도 나빠다 왜나 소비자들 외롭고 무슨 동동 먹었고 또 지금 가면 나와 당시 동안이가 또 somos 동안이가 또 somos나 사마 매와 잡혀요 말이야 매와 잡혀요 말이야 통되는 세번째 밤에나 마 동제들이 같은 통되는 소수 세번째 밤에는 되니 누가 가요 이거 말이야 소비자들 외롭고 무슨 동동 먹었고 somos
So mind's essence, which is unelaborated, just like space, when one leaves it just as it is, then one realizes the nature of all phenomena. All phenomena of samsara and nirvana have been created by mind, and if one leaves it just naturally, without grasping, abiding just like space, then one realizes everything that appears to be empty of self-nature. It is not as though everything is just going out of existence, becoming nothingness, but things arise, but the mind does not have any grasping to them. However many things one sees, they cannot do any harm to one.
담아 빠지는 거로 우고지가 미긴 통기는 데 동반이 또 오잖아. 저밤에 봤던 거지. 또와 또 보면 뒤삼을 보면은 세마를 받아서 막 되니 그러나 네 나시 느끼 담체 내말 맞아 봐. 동반이라. 그래서 꽉 차고 와. 오래. 뒤삼을 오래 배짱 합정제네. 근데 주탁제 제일만 다 그지 하고요 봐. 근데 이제 너무 대단 하고네. 올해 주배시라고 되는 딱히 동고요래. 주배시라고 대단 출나요? 무슨가 요아리 것도 그게 나중이가 느끼기 요래. 요바 되나? 다리 주배시라고 파라래서 요바 되는 양 이용전 이제 봐요 봐. 이제 봐요 요나. 세부대로 가도 이제는 맞아 봐도 주배시라고 되는 하고요래. 얘는 네 이제도 아무 건도 봐도 땅하고 말이야. 족발을 가서 하고 쳤잖아. 근데 도구도 세고 내려가고 저 밤에 가면 이제는 요 말이지. 내와서 다른 곳에 세고도 봐 가서 근데 문에 내왔더니 나빠서 뺐나 다 들어가. 하고
So to realize all phenomena to be empty of self-nature is not what we ordinary beings immediately do. We again and again have graspings to phenomena as they are arising. So we are depending on studies, listening and reflecting and meditating to get first an understanding of the fact that all phenomena are not substantial existent things, have no true reality to them, and are empty of self-nature, and all phenomena are, everything compounded is impermanent. One can get an understanding through reading scriptures, for example. So first we are depending on the wisdom arising from listening and contemplation. And in that state, of course, there is self and others, there is a duality. But generally, to that existence of them, we naturally have a grasping. As soon as self or others appear, we have a grasping to them. But then when one looks at its nature, at the nature of the mind, then when one has realized it, one sees that it all has no true existence. From the beginning, on its basis, it does not have any self-existence whatsoever. And in that state, one will think, what have I been thinking? I have had so many graspings to things to be substantially existent before. When one has realized they have all dissipated in a state of non-apprehension.
미디 좀더 미래에지 딱 저거가. 좀더 미래에다 인지나. 오라 미디 시소만. 로 당을 나지 다지 주로라 미디 라비래. 어딜 갔다 말이야. 오라 미 가리를 미디 생래. 그 미디 생을 가리는데 미디 생거를 저러고 생었더라지. 아래 한숨 좋게 다 생각도 그래. 생 요게 가는 laptop 말라. 들이 가. 문이 미지 생각나가 생각 찍어야 용이 laptop 말이 다 문이 미팅 독 뭐든지 되게 통이 바라는 거야. 제 말을 그랬더니 바뀌었잖아. 간빈이 은혜 정말 이제 얘네랑 꼭 깨자시에서다 내가 딱딱 해보는 것도 내 가리를 갖다 내가 제가 사지에 담기고 말람다고 말람다고 나도 가리는 말에다가 니는 가리를 올렸나? 뭐또 체들아 아마리 그걸 찌네 맛이 받아. 자저가 니 맛에 말람다 자저가 말람다고 그러니 사니 셔츠도 체는 말람다고 이제는 다 말람나니까 아무도 무슨 거로 와. 됐나? 다다무도 뭐가 말람지 당장 말람네. 얘도 많이 됐어. 다다 니 말을 내 무슨 갖다 녀와 요미지나 야와 무슨 요를 해도 되는 거. 배지 잡히잖아. 다다 뭐랑 또 뭐니 산이 시선 좀 뭐랑 당긴 거 이 세야 요 말이지. 이 세야 그거 뭐랑 때라 다 제도 뭐랑 따고 이제 저는 뭐랑 되고 뭐 찾아잖아. 드리상 어떤 다 저는 이제 뒤에서 보고 있었네. 제도다 스마 봐도 좀 제도 좀 뭐지. 좀 말해야지. 드리 하고 하고 그만. 그냥 저 그리고 좀 보고 봐.
So this is something a little difficult to understand for beginners. Some beginner may see a person, and then when you tell that person, oh, that person is empty of self-nature, then he would say, you're stupid, what are you talking about? How can you say that person is empty? So you don't have to look at the person as a person, but think you have to look at its nature, the nature of the person. If you understand the nature of one person, you have understood the nature of all beings in the 6 realms. So now we are having this conversation with somebody, and this person says this is a person. So you ask the person, so who is that person? Is it that body? Is it this one? And then he would reply, yes, that's the person. Then one would answer, but what happens when the person dies? When the body dies, then it's just a corpse. Is that corpse then also a person? And then he has to answer, no, the corpse can never be a person. So what is then the person if the corpse cannot be a person? So then the person would say, oh, that the person, this human, is a mind. It's the mind. Good, then you have to look at your mind. And when you look at your mind, searching for the person, you will be lost. Because it cannot be determined to be or not to be the mind. So then one has doubts on whether the mind is the person or is not the person. So there's many debates in logic when they talk about compounded phenomena. It is a compounded phenomena and it is impermanent. It is like empty of self-nature, and yet it is functioning and it is doing things. So what is it? The Buddha has said it is just like a dream. We have been born in this life as the children of our mothers, and will be that until we die. And when we die, it will be just like waking up from a dream. This life will appear to be just like a dream when we die. Right now, when we go to sleep tonight and we have a dream, then we wake up and we say, oh, that was just a dream, it's just emptiness, that was not real, now it's real, that's real life. But yesterday we have talked about it when somebody asked a question about the hell realms, if hell realms do really exist or not. Now, it is in the same way. Now, this present life and every life exists just like a dream, and when we die, we will wake up from the dream, and then the party state will become reality. Jigten Sungen has said, to make that understandable, this life, all the future lives, and the party state are really one and the same, no difference.
이 대다 하고도 저나 이 사제가 깔아뛰는 되는 거 속에 선두지기 사제게 내가 놀러 사제게 유제 잠시 마다 봐지 이책 집어대 선두지기 유제 마다 홀로 나 그게 심피 다다대장이 오 미지가 저거다나 리셈이가 마다 봐래 드리스당상 오 선두지기 나한테 심피 이야라 대바리 samjute shakam ko sende joya mo sende hulu chaya mo wa de cha so na kare pheli ya dabal de ta ta thol gori de ta che ko ha ko ya ta tarim dabal de thol gori de ta kare mo ri dabal de thol so na mije ma ko lo ma thol so na lu de sha so se bi shlo yo ma dabal de mi cha ka shlo dabal de thol so na kare 다 사제로 써와도 생긴 상태이 통로 맞동을 몰란다. 소용 하래야 요 말이야. 들이 세분이로 꼭 들이와 유재통 좀 다 봐고 뒤에다 그냥 남는 거만 하시라. 얘다 비토로 봐. 저렇게 그 동분 보고 또 세분이로 시설을 드는 거 배워요 거 해야 돼. 이제 밤에나 다 대화라 이제 봐요 말이야. 대화를 시봐요 말. 대화로 용 그랬대. 대화를 시봐네. 야, 대화 맨날 동의 살마. 동의란 저 밤에 지적 내가 제 민도 남왕롱도 저 봐요. 이제 뭐 하리 배. 다도 참 이렇게 지적 내가 제 민도 남왕롱도 저 봐요. 이제 대화 때문에 무슨 동봉고 또 소나. 선수기 있다. 안 생겨 나도 탐지는 저 밤에나 그 생각 나봤다. 다 얘기로라. 다쳐 동안 잘. 다쳐 당근도 그러라. 무슨 동봉고 또
Then if one understands, depending on the Buddha's speech, that all outer phenomena, the outer container, the world, the universe, is going to be destroyed. Just like the Buddha has said, all compounded phenomena are impermanent. All the outer world, the outer container, the universe will be destroyed. It is in the nature of impermanence, and all beings, all bodies will be destroyed. So both inner and outer, the outer world and the inner sentient beings, both are impermanent, and they have no inherent existence. When one understands that, then one's mind will become at ease, and that is a great benefit. So these days, also the scientists know that the world will be destroyed at some point. And when the world is destroyed, all the bodies will be destroyed. But the mind itself can never be destroyed. It will not go out of existence. Or the people will go out of existence. So the mind will not go out of existence. Therefore, we make supplication prayers and supplicate the Buddhas not to send sentient beings into the lower realms. If one has realized the nature of one's mind and realized that all phenomena are impermanent, one will have no fear. One will have no grasping, no holding on to. When one experiences great happiness, great bliss, one will not be attached to it. One will have no grasping to it. When one experiences bliss, it is alright to experience it, but one does not need to grasp at it, hold on to it. And also one will not hold on to suffering when suffering arises. So both Milarepa has taught. It is the supreme instruction that between both happiness and suffering is not the slightest difference. When your mind has no concepts and no holding on to, no apprehension, it will remain just like space, just like water, in a purified state without any stains or obscurations.
대다오도 또 하나 다음에 몸 자도 남이 제고 삼리기 로지 요는 다 그런 제고가 말이야. 다 생기면 나빠져도 돼. 다 가리. 다 콜레가 그냥 매 랭기 보를 제도 체 랭기 보를 또다 나서는지 나몸 자고 좀 봐요 이거 말이야. 나도 너가 나도 내몸과 당신 내나 랭기 보를 제도 제다 같이 이렇게 쌍구는 가지고 생각하다고 그렇게 강력 쌍구이란 말이야. 강력 마사 랭기 보를 제도 체 럭 양사 배지 주 어다 노를 너 사자 참아 셔탁 좀 노를 동사 소리 와서 자와 럭 양사 배지 주 딜까지 가려니 나 상지의 기반 문이라는 생들이 상지의 생수 모시대 제도 들자 많지도 나는 생수 상지에서 땅에 럭고 삼지 럭 강해 럭고를 강해로만 drop some you loyal, drop some you loyal. How was one?
And then one has realized that then their wish to meditate, thinking I need to meditate or I need to practice, also has ceased. It's that mind, that wish to meditate and practice also is not there. Just without thinking anything, the mind just abides like space. No thinking of there is a need for meditation or not. In that state there is no afflictive emotions, there is no thoughts, so it abides like space. And in that state all the places of the 6 types of transmigration are empty of self-nature. In that state one recognizes one's own mind to be the mind of the Buddha, and in that state there is neither the thought I need to practice nor the thought I do not want to practice.
초토바데 야도마로야 초토마 토바드네 오 따데 사초 틀나마 준비되는 상황도만 남도 뉴모바 참아데 봐도 오 따초토마 차서 따초토마 제발 요 말이 초토마 제발 초토마 차서 진짜 상계 상계에 우리 하고 상계 센터 모시게 제도로다 맞죠 참았는데 하고 나는 제일 봐도 됐다 니초도 담아래. 또 어떻게 초도 가게. 아니 초도 또 가게. 아니 초도 양자 담아 돌리요래. 담아 돌리요래니까 다 제일 미팅이라는 참. 담아. 초 담아 가게 초도 봐. 조금 이제 왔다 가는 거지요. 나는 요 말이 그때 담아 잡아 말씀 함께 상견들이 상견으로 해. 하고
So an example for that all sentient beings are originally the Buddha, have the Buddha on their basis is when one first, for example, has pure water and then one uses this water, for example, to wash clothes, then the water becomes dirty. Still, both waters are water. One is dirty water and one is clean water. But these days, the scientists have science has improved, and they these days know how to purify dirty water. So after one has washed the clothes and they have the water has become very dirty, then the scientists use some machines to make the water clear again and pure. In the same way, we can purify our mind stream that has become dirty through understanding bodhicitta and karma, cause and effect. All our afflictions, our defilements will be eradicated, and in the end what is left is just a pure mind, a clean mind, which is the Buddha itself. In the same way, water has always been water, either in a pure state or in an impure state. It still is water. Now, when we have purified our mind, it has become pure water, and we have realized that we are Buddha, and in fact, all and every sentient beings is Buddha.
남바지한테 가래를 따라 산지를 따라요. 산지 가래를 들어. 산지 좀더 이렇게 semki nam sangye ni ongdang lower to me drop in all that lower never to watch us with ongdang lower to me to my there's a sangye with the top down from the top sangye but sangye was sure send the minute to sangye so lot seven solo lot of that to sangye my seven solo that same neighbor not doorway. There's something here, this such a man of the 상대마도 로사요 말봐. 용왕가서 정말 상대 서로가 로사요 말해. 그럼 나 이미 나 상대가 미디나 저거. 나 상대 늦게 미디. 좀 상대 교육을 나 상대가 미디를 같이 되는 소리 말고. 나 남바 미디를 고쳤는데 우리 상대 교육. 남바 미디도 또 봐라. 세면은 상대 말이야. 세면은 상대 말인데 얘네는 용왕가들 세면만 용왕을 사지라고 이러마. 사지 똥반이를 오래. 사지 뭐가 찍장도 말. 세면은 되니. 세면이 찍자고 말이야. 세면은 세대 상대에 들어와. 상대 세면의 송세. 하고
네.
하고.
When somebody would say, I'm a Buddhist or I'm not a Buddhist, or I don't need the Buddhist view. When one speaks like that, then it is just because the Buddhist view is the Buddha, and what is the Buddha? It is inherent in every sentient being. It is inherent in the mind of every sentient being. It is just that our minds have been temporarily obscured by stains. That is only temporarily. On our basis, on our ground, we all are the Buddha. All sentient beings are the Buddha. If there would be no mind, then there would be nothing, because Buddhahood arises from mind. When one were to say, I don't want to attain enlightenment, I can't attain enlightenment, you can say that, but you can't say that you don't have the Buddha cause in your mind, because every sentient being does have the Buddha cause, the Buddha nature in one's mind. So the mind, has nowhere to go outwardly, outside. Even the four elements are pervaded by Buddha. They are Buddha, since they are empty of self-nature.
Very good. Page 18.